Okay, so my experience in Boys Town's been complicated, to say the least. When I first moved to Chicago, I'm from Tennessee, and I would have never dreamed there was a whole place for gay people to just walk around and be gay, I guess. And just have bars. And Nashville had one gay bar when I was there. So to have so many on one street was amazing. But as I came here, I started realizing it wasn't as utopic as I thought. I remember one of the first times I went to a bar. I'm not going to say which bar, but I was told I wasn't allowed in. And I was underage at the time. I will fess up to that. But that wasn't why I didn't get in. It was because I didn't look like the people that were there. At this specific bar, everyone there was pretty white. It's pretty Abercrombie-esque. I'm not very Abercrombie-esque. And the doorman told me not to come in. And he's like, you wouldn't like it here anyways. You should go down the street. And from there, that's been kind of a nightly reoccurrence. I seem to always be getting in arguments with folks at bars who want to either tell me I shouldn't be there, or they hypersexualize me because I am a black boy in Boys Town, which automatically means I'm looking to have sex. One of the most interesting things, and probably why I started writing and started working in the community and activism, was that I'm young. I'm in my early 20s, and I'm this color, and we here in Boys Town have a large population of Black and Latino youth that are homeless on the streets or work in the sex economy here in Boys Town. Due to that and how I look, I get mistaken as a part of that scene a lot. So whenever I go out, people will approach me and say, hey, I have $20, how much is a blowjob, or things like that. One of the times I dressed up in a dress and went to Boys Town, and I wrote about this, and I have a very feminine figure in a black dress, in my little black dress, so I passed as a trans woman. And if I'm a trans black woman walking the street, I'm automatically considered to be a prostitute. So that night was really interesting, and almost got arrested, faced some violence, and things like that. So being who I am and in the age range I am, my experience in Boys Town has been one always negotiating my place as me, Zach Stafford, a writer or an activist, with this assumed identity of random brown black boy on the streets is probably homeless for some reason, because that's, if you see a brown and black person in Boys Town at 3 a.m. walking on the street with other black folks, that usually people think you're either from the South Side or you're one of the youth or so on and so forth. So my experience has always been negotiating that, and also not putting any shame on that. I work with the youth as an HIV counselor, so I think they're great folks. I don't mind being mistaken as them, but through being mistaken as them, I could face a lot of problems, to say the least. So that's the hardest problem about being in Boys Town, is that finding that happy medium. And I think a lot of it, I need to move the conversation away from me and more about how can we create a place where those youth can be here, and they should be here. Like, this is their place just as much as any man that lives in the New Yorker building or any other expensive condo, that we all deserve to be here. And I look forward to the day Boys Town is how I dreamed of it, be this happy, gay, queer land for everyone. But right now it's not that way. And I think just me walking down the street, just if I feel out of place, that gives a lot of evidence to kind of the total environment, and that it is for certain people that look certain ways, that do certain things. And that's not a gay community.
So this event is called Queer as Community, which is cute and catchy and all, but what does it mean? What does it mean to be queer? What is this intangible community? I often find myself reflecting on these terms, but never so often or so actively as during the preparation for this event. I thought about my own queerness and how for me my queerness is not just about my unique sense of gender or who and how I fuck. It's about how I perceive myself. It's about how I perceive the world and how I carry myself in it. It's about recognizing every moment, every interaction as a challenge to the way things are and striving for a more affirming world. An identified gay man that I know approached me and without even saying hello, asked me, "Are you gonna cut your dick off?" The violence of his question overwhelmed me. It slapped me in the face and left me reeling. After regaining my emotional footing, I began to reflect. His question did a few things. It placed the reality of my gender in my pants, not in my heart or my head. It's exactly where mainstream culture has coercively placed my gender. It's why I was raised as and taught to be a boy. And this gay man, who should have been trying to support me, trying to understand me, solidified that experience of coercion. To him, my gender is not in how I identify or feel. isn't what I'm carrying between my legs. I was trying to explain my specific conception of being neither a man nor a woman. I described myself as a creature, and I told him that sometimes I feel more affirmed by it than I do by she. He recoiled and shouted, "Ew, I don't like that. That's dehumanizing." This man, rather than challenging himself to see me as a new possible way of being, provoked me to see my identity as dehumanizing. His refusal to respect my sense of self devalued my experience. Not only that, it served to cement a world with only two possible genders. That's a world that I can't exist in. His reaction alienated me from queer culture in the same way that I'm alienated from mainstream culture. To be a truly inclusive community, and that's what I want Queer Chicago to become, we need to work to challenge these norms and cultivate a community that is explicitly and intentionally inclusive of all queers. We need to respect that queer means different, and sometimes that means different than you, different than me, different than anyone we know. We need to cultivate that sort of respect in our community. We need to receive the experiences of others and really work to understand them. Let's be intentional about the spaces we occupy and the spaces we create. Let's blow open the doors of who is allowed to be valued, because every queer has immeasurable value, exactly because they are different.